Hey, what's good everybody? It's cjbeatz. We're back at it again today. Today I'm going to make a Trippie Redd type beat in Logic Pro X with the help of Loopcloud 4.0 right after this. So Loopmasters reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a video on Loopcloud 4.0. I wasn't really familiar with it beforehand. After digging into it a little more, I realized the potential that this application has when you're using it in conjunction with Logic. One of Logic's downfalls is the sample browser, not being able to audition 32-bit samples and then not being able to actually listen to samples while the beat is playing was also something I wasn't really a fan of ever. But when I downloaded, installed, and then started using Loopcloud 4.0, I was just blown away of how well it works and integrates with when you're using Logic. So a couple of things to mention. Loopcloud 4.0, again, is free. It's a complete solution for browsing, auditioning, and managing your samples in one easy application. With Loopcloud 4.0, users can also slice and edit samples directly inside that application and then apply them to your DAW. There are millions of samples inside of Loopcloud that you could use and download, probably more than you'll ever need, but being able to pick up some inspiration from this is super easy. So let's dig into Loopcloud a little bit and find some samples that we'll use for this Trippie Redd type beat. So the first thing I'll do is click on the store here. Somebody at Loopmasters said I should be looking into a pack called Deep Trap. So I'm going to do that search. Here it is. And as you can see, we have different folders available to us. Rex files. So if you're a Reason user, you could use Rex files. Sampler and patches. Let's see, EXS24. So you can incorporate it right into Logic with using the EXS24 sampler patches. Contact if you're using the contact sampler. And sounds and effects. These are all one shots. And then we got some wave loops here. Let's take a look at the music loops. There were a couple that I found already that I thought would fit this Trippie Redd type beat. So this is the first one. Here's this other one that I found. I like this one a lot, so I'm going to drag and drop it in like this. Let's expand Logic. Maybe make this a little faster. Let's do 137. Got a lot of low end on that sample, which I'm going to cut out using the EQ. And maybe we can also bring down some of that 300-400 range here. Seems to be a little harsh. All right, so let's bounce that into place, create a new sample out of it. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and use a scissor tool. We can use the Command and Option button to make slices on all the bars like that. Let's mute this one. Let's highlight all of these. Let's make sure that our fade tool is selected. We're going to fade these in and out just a little bit so the chops are not too noticeable. You have to right-click on them. Make sure one says fade in. This other one should be on fade out. Dropped another EQ on it. Notice there's some more low end that I want to cut out. Can sort of exaggerate that 2K like 27 hertz range just for a little bit of clarity in the sample. Even though you don't see anything here, it doesn't mean that there's no sound there. There's actually sound there. We're able to accentuate that sound a little more. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually add some low end back to this using my own bass. And the plugin that I'm using for this is called Vacuum Pro, which I actually picked up on Plugin Boutique for $1. Plugin Boutique has some really insane sales going on all the time. They have awesome reward system. So anytime you buy something, you could use these rewards back to purchasing new plugins. So you should definitely go and check those out. So here we go. Let's look for maybe a lead, something warm. I'm just going to play the first one here. And what I like doing with a lead to create it into a bass sound is basically chop the mids and the high ends off like this. Let's see if we can come up with something that would match the samples that we have. Great, now we're going to bounce this into place one more time. I'm going to use a scissor tool, chop them one more time. I'm using Command and Option at the same time on my keyboard and then chopping it into individual pieces, same length pieces like that. Now I'm going to come in here, go to File, and reverse each one. So I'm noticing this one here had a little bit of a pause in there, so I'm just going to duplicate it like this. I'm going to start working on some drums now. Let's go ahead and use the Drum Machine Designer, and I'm going to be using one of my patches, which is an empty kit, so we can go back to Loopcloud, find the drum samples that we want to use. Let's bring Loopcloud back up, and we're going to dig through some of the samples that I have in my library. So I wanted to show you guys that you can import your own samples into Loopcloud like this. All you need to do is hit that plus button, browse to where your drum kits folder is or whatever. It's going to take some minutes to import all your sounds. It's going to use artificial intelligence to detect the key, the type of instrument it is, what format they're in, either wave, MIDI, whatever, the type of sample it is, so be it a loop or a one-shot. And lastly, you could also add the genre of each of these samples. So here's my drum kit library. As you can see, all these different kits right here, and all of them are tagged with different types of instrument sounds, drum kits, drums, 808, clap, hi-hat, all the keys, and then whether or not they are loops or one-shots. So let's just dig into one of these first kits here. Let's find a kick drum that would match this. So what I like to do, something that you weren't able to do in Logic, is play the beat back and actually play these samples at the same time. Okay, like that one. I'm going to add another instrument here, and what we'll do is bring in an EXS24 in stereo. I'm going to find some hi-hats here that we can maybe layer. Like this one, that's a nice short one. Maybe we can add a longer one underneath it. All right, let's come up with a drum pattern for this. So I'm going to create a new empty region like this, double click it to bring up the piano roll, and let's start with that clap and all the threes like so. Just going to make this 4 bars in length and then loop it. Also going to create a hi-hat pattern for this. So what we can do is find the pitch that we want to work with. Select 1/8 note. hi-hats are too loud, you can always bring them down like this. And then every time the clap hits, I'm going to have the hi-hat play at a lower octave, or lower pitch rather. Let's try even a lower pitch. And then I'm going to add just some accent ones in here. So what I also like to do once I have like my hi-hat and my clap going is highlight both of them like this, so that I can see both the hi-hats as well as the drum machine designer, and then see the empty spots. So like right here in the beginning, we obviously want the kick right here at the beginning. Kick should always be the loudest in trap beats. All right, the last thing I'm going to do here is add an 808. So let's go ahead and add another software instrument, let's get the EXS24 in mono, and then what I'll do is go back into my Loopcloud and find an 808 that would match this. So let the beat play without the bass now. I want something grungy, so that would match well. All right, so I think all the elements that I want in this beat are pretty much set into place now. Now I'm going to challenge you to download this project file if you're using Logic Pro X, and then make your own beat out of it. Shout out again to Loopmasters for letting me try out Loopcloud 4.0. This is definitely going to be my go-to now to find my samples for my projects. Make sure you get your own copy of Loopcloud 4.0. If you have any questions, make sure to use the comment section for that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you're notified anytime I upload some new content. My name is cjbeatz, and I'm out for now. Peace.